Take a break from your busy schedule and join Harold Sala for Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living.
He hated the limelight, but he was constantly in the news. He loved the simple life, yet his was often conflicted and confusing. He preferred the country, but he had to live in the city. He felt inadequate as a public spokesman, yet he spent his life confronting world leaders. His name, Jeremiah. If you check that name in a dictionary, you will discover that based on the life of a 7th century BC prophet in Judah, a Jeremiah is one who is pessimistic about the present and foresees a calamitous future. So who was this man Jeremiah, and why was he such a pessimist? Good question. He was born in the village of Anathoth, now called Anata in modern Israel, about 4 kilometers southeast of the city of Jerusalem. He grew up in a strongly religious family. His father was a priest, perhaps the Hilkiah who brought the book of the law to King Josiah and started a revival. But Jeremiah didn't inherit fame. His came with blood and fire. At about age 21, he had an encounter with God which changed his life, one which he didn't ask for, and one which at one time caused such grief that he actually cursed the day he was born. When God called him, Jeremiah gave 3 reasons why he considered himself an unlikely candidate. 1, he argued his youth. 2, he explained he was not eloquent, something which God already happened to know. And 3, he told God he had no experience to qualify him for the job. God, of course, immediately saw his mistake in wanting to use Jeremiah and apologized for interrupting his life, right? No, not at all. Here's the account which he himself wrote. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Ah, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child. But the Lord said to me, Do not say, I am only a child. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, Now I have put my words in your mouth. See, today I appoint you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. It's hard to argue with God, especially when his hand touches your life, as happened to Jeremiah. His was never an easy life. Forbidden to marry, his was a lonely existence. Those who should have been his closest friends, priests and civic leaders, were his most bitter critics. So angered was King Jehoiakim at what Jeremiah had written that he took his penknife and cut up the scroll piece by piece and fed it to the fire. Jeremiah's message was considered unpatriotic. God promised to be with him, and in spite of the constant battle which he waged, God gave him power. When Jerusalem was overthrown by Nebuchadnezzar, that was in 597, Jeremiah escaped to Egypt according to tradition. May God give us more men and women today such as Jeremiah, men and women who will stand and be counted regardless of the cost. Yes, indeed, give us more Jeremiahs.
You've just heard Dr. Harold Sala with Guidelines, a 5-minute commentary on living. If you would like to listen to the program again, download a copy, subscribe to our e-commentary, or view other resources, visit guidelines.org. We would like to hear from you, too. You can email us at info@guidelines.org. That's info@guidelines.org. Thanks for listening, and we invite you to join us again for the next edition of Guidelines.